All right. We are live. Awesome. Good morning, everyone. Welcome again here to NextOppSocial. Welcome, NextOppSocial family. We're excited again to have another chat live discussion here on our YouTube channel. As always, I am Richelle Wright Wilson. I'm joined by Juwan Buford, and today we're joined by wholesale and retail eyelash distributor and business consultant Glennika Hubbard. Before we jump into all of it, if you're watching live with us here, either live or if you're watching the replay, make sure you hit that subscribe button here on our channel so you never miss an interview or a live or any of the incredible discussions that we're having here at NextOppSocial. So let's get into it. Blah, get my words. Welcome, Glennika. Thank you again for joining us here today. We're excited to have you and talk about your journey. So let's jump into it. Tell us more about yourself, your background, and because we are about entrepreneurship here at NextOppSocial, what caused you to fall in love with being an entrepreneur?
Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Glennika. I am super excited to be here. Thank you guys for the opportunity once again. I've always had a passion for being an entrepreneur, I want to say since high school. My senior year, I started like my first nonprofit organization. And just from like after graduating, I always had in my heart that I didn't really want to be in like the corporate world. Like I wanted to be able to do more. I didn't want to be limited. So it's interesting. My perspective kind of changed though once I graduated. I'm like, well, I have to make money, so I have to go to corporate. I can't chase my dreams. I just got to put it all to the side and just get a job. So that's what I did. And then I ended up getting injured at work. And once that happened, I was like, okay, maybe this is the time where I could do the things that, I always wanted to do, and let's try it out. So I tried it out, and I've been an entrepreneur now for about going on 3 years. Like literally right after I got injured, I was diagnosed with like post-concussion syndrome, and I had a lot of setbacks, but the setbacks motivated me to just do the things that I know that I've always were passionate to do. And it's been incredible. I've always been in manufacturing. So getting into the wholesale market and retail was like, it was like drinking water for me, because I understood like how to make things, how to package things, how to ship things, how to sort. Like I understood manufacturing. So I think that's a very key component to wholesale, is being able to understand how to pick out products and everything. So I think my background really helped me with that. And then also the fact that I love to research. I'm a researcher. That helped me as well, to be able to see my competitors and see what the clients want and everything like that. So, yeah.
Awesome.
So I have to ask, right? Because you have some individuals who they don't discover entrepreneurship until 10, 15, 20 years into it. And you mentioned high school, right?
Yeah.
So I have to inquire, what influenced you back in high school? Why at such a young age did you decide that entrepreneurship might be the way for you?
I think what influenced me was my passion I had for helping people, and especially my peers. I remember being in high school and just watching my peers make a lot of bad decisions, and a lot of it was based on peer pressure. So when I seen that, I was like, okay, I want to be able to do something about this. So I created my first nonprofit organization, which was called G. Inspirational Productions. And it basically was me writing scripts, getting students together, acting, and just basically promoting doing things great and overcoming peer pressure. And that's what we did. We went to different schools. And at first, to me, I didn't even think of it as a business. I was just like, this is what I'm passionate about. I just want to help people, and this is going to work. And it did. So that, I think, since I started that in high school and even after going into the workforce, I think once I did get sick or injured, I was like, okay, I can do this, because I did it before. So it motivated me to get back into entrepreneurship.
Fantastic. I love it. I love it. So you were injured from work. You decided, I'm going to jump back into entrepreneurship 2 feet forward. again. And you start up Elie Lashes. Is that when Elie Lashes was introduced?
Yeah, so
Okay.
it's interesting because I started Elie Lovely Lashes right before I got injured. So, but I was just playing with it. I wasn't really expecting to run it as a full-time entrepreneur business. I was just like, ooh, I like eyelashes. And I want to get into this beauty arena where it's not just all about like how you look on the outside, but I want people to actually be motivated to take care of themselves on the inside as well. So I was like, oh, you know, I'm going to have these packages where it has inspirational messages, and, you know, I want to uplift them internally because I feel like that's something that's missing in the cosmetic industry. So I seen a problem and I'm like, hey, here's a solution. And it was fun for me. It was a hobby. Like, I'll be honest, it wasn't something that I expected to do as a career until I got injured. And that's when I was like, okay, I'm gonna take this serious. I'm gonna get a website. I'm going to get a bunch of inventory. I'm going to contact people and take it as a business.
I love it. I love it. So I'll tell you the thing that impressed me about you, right? You have a lot of entrepreneurs who, quite frankly, have shied away from digital marketing and shied away from wholesaling. And, you know, I don't want to be callous, but kind of utilize the fact that things are a little more difficult and that you have to be able to transition online effectively to be successful as a business owner as an excuse not to go to work, right? And I gathered from our conversations, you did the exact opposite. Like, you've become exceptionally competent in the digital marketing space in a very short amount of time. And I know you're involved in event promotions and management of talent, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know, during the pandemic, what difficulties did you encounter? And how did you begin to kind of be able to craft a presence and a voice online to promote your business?
So during the pandemic, I want to say the most difficult thing for me was the fact that everything that I've done with my wholesale business, it was not just a shipping kind of business. Like, I would literally be personal with my clients. I would be at their fashion shows. I would be at their photo shoots. I would have a team putting on my lashes. And heck, sometimes I would even be involved with putting on my brand lashes on the models. So when the pandemic hit, it was like, I can't do that. Like, that was my biggest, those were my biggest clients, the ones that I were right in front of. And all the shows got canceled. We had to do social distancing. So that was like a big hit, like loss for me. So the way I recovered from that, I had to get creative, as most of us entrepreneurs have to do. And I said, okay, well, let's do photo shoots. If I'm just the one that's doing it, maybe get one photographer. You know, we got to make it limited, keep the social distancing. I don't have to be that close. I can even teach them how to apply it themselves. Like, I just got really creative, and I actually allowed the pandemic to fuel me to just go harder and come up with more creative ideas and ways to reach out to people and do what I love to do.
So I know we're on borrowed time. I can hear it in the background. So we're gonna, so we're gonna move this interview a little bit faster than usual. I know, yes, I know about that life.
It's all right. That's the way it is now.
Yes. This is fascinating.
Motivate me. That's my motivation.
Yes. So, what are some of the toughest lessons you learned during this transition? Yeah.
Okay, give me 1 second.
Go ahead, do what you gotta do. It's incredible.
I think what's interesting about what she's talking about too, especially with her business, is beauty space, whatever. It's one specific thing, and I think that's what's so fascinating is she focuses on one specific area. The beauty business has a incredible mission and reason and why behind it.
Yes.
That fuels her to really go in all on this one thing, be really known for this one thing. And I think there's so many entrepreneurs that you can still think really big and have this incredible business with having a very narrow thing that you do, though. And I think that's what's really what's exciting to, as she's talking about her story and talking about what she does, it's just eyelashes, right? And we might think like, well, that's just one, whatever, it's just that, right? But it's so much more than that, and it allows her to build these incredible relationships. It's allowing her to really build a brand around really this one idea. So I'm excited to dive more into it, because it's not something we hear about all the time. It's something that people are doing a lot of different things. It's maybe they're like overarching idea, like maybe they're in the whole cosmetic space, but this is really more narrowed down.
Right. Yeah. Well, she's about to join, but
I got somewhat situated. They're like, we want water.
Not a problem. Glennika, I was just talking about, as you stepped away, just how exciting it is to hear this story that has such a big mission, such a big why, a really big reason behind why you do it, but it's just one thing. It's just eyelashes, right? So tell us a little bit more actually about why you got really specific on what it is you were doing. Because the beauty industry, cosmetic industry, there's a lot of different avenues you could go in that way. Why did you choose so specific?
Well, give me 1 second.
That's all right.
Yeah, the other thing that's fascinating about it, oh, never mind. She's quick.
She had it right there.
So, I got more specific. More specific because I've always had a love for eyelashes, and for me it was a really big problem because I always had struggled with putting on eyelashes. So I was like, okay, this is a problem that I can once again learn, and not only can I learn, but I can help other people learn. And that's one thing that fuels me: learning, researching, and then helping others, right? So it was something that I always liked. Like, I could put on a pair of lashes and some lip gloss and run out the door, and I'm like, ooh, I don't have to do a full face, I feel good with this. So I think that was one of the reasons why I focused on lashes. And then once again, that to me seemed like that's the biggest area of struggle for a majority of people. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, I might want to try this, but then they get so frustrated because it's like so freaking complex. Like, that's the most complex, I think, item in makeup. Like, you can throw stuff on your face all day long, but trying to do that is like, it takes skill. So I think that's what drives me to pick the eyelashes. And then also too, I feel like I could do so much with it. It was just so much that I felt like I could do with it. I'm trying to think how to explain it. Like, I can have my own brand. Like, you can add different names to each lash, different collections. It's so much that I wanted to do with it. Like, even for example, with my models, when I do photo shoots, I'll pick like 10 models, and I might name each pair of lash after that specific model, and they feel like super special. And it's like, oh, I have my own name eyelash brand, So it's a lot that I can do with it, and it just motivated me to focus on that area. My son is like, I want to sit with mommy.
So what I'm hearing is, indirectly, right? I think a lesson the entrepreneurs can take from what you shared. You talked quite a little bit about branding, right? And people being able to identify you with a certain, I gotta imagine, with certain quality showing up, the type of client services you were able to offer during this period. And that allowed you to pivot a little bit, right? The fact that you actually had a brand, and while you were focused on eyelashes, it allowed you to pivot and do other things.
Yes.
I'm trying to be cognizant of time, and also cognizant of the fact I know what you got going on in the background.
Usual.
It's all good. It's all good. So you're focused on eyelashes. The pandemic transpires. You're not able to show up anymore and deliver services the way you're accustomed to doing so, right? And so you end up pivoting, and you start to do and provide other services instead. Talk about that process, right? It's not like you just woke up and said, hey, pandemics happen, I can't conduct business the way I usually do, I'm just going to immediately do this, right? What did that process sound like? What did it look like for you?
Well, for me, I know that I have so many different talents, so many things that I love to do. And I mean, especially with being an entrepreneur, I knew that I didn't want to pay for people to promote me. I didn't want to pay for people to advertise me. And not even necessarily that I didn't want to pay. My biggest thing was, why would I pay someone to do something that I know I can do? So because I know that I'm skilled in advertising, I know that I'm skilled when it comes to social media and branding and contacting clients. I know that I had those skills and I had that passion. I was like, okay, you know what? How about I use this time, during this pandemic to help other brands, to contact people through social media, to have great advertisement and marketing material, because a lot of people pay for marketing, but they don't have any ads. So it's like you're paying to market a bunch of stuff that nobody really wants to see. And so, I helped a lot of people who are in business, like what do you call it? Like reconstruct their Instagram pages, help people with videos for their Instagram channels or Facebook or social, what do you call it? YouTube channels. So I guess that's another thing that people don't know about Elie Lovely Lashes, is that it's not just a wholesale brand, but also, you want some more water? My son. Okay. But yeah, so that's another thing that people don't really know. Give me 1 second. Here, you can take it with you. Take it upstairs. Yep, there you go. But yeah, so that's another thing that people didn't know about Elie Lovely Lashes, is that I actually have like videographer background, photographer background. Like I could do it all. And as this pandemic began to grow and I realized that it wasn't going to be a week or 2 or months, it just allowed me to grow even more in those other areas. Like I have a photo shoot coming up this weekend where I'm literally going to be the photographer, and I'm super excited about it. And videography as well. I'm going to put some videos and stuff together. And I've been having clients, like other businesses, contact me like, hey, can you put together a video for my business? Can you take some pictures of me advertising my business? I'm like, sure, we can take it a step further. I can even help you with your Instagram, so it's been a blessing. Even in the midst of all of the drama and the sorrows and the chaos, it's a lot of growth coming out of it, and it's a lot of positivity. So I'm excited to be able to be a light in this dark season. Be able to help people. So yeah. Anything else?
So yeah, I'm gonna defer to you. I have a couple questions, but I know the digital space. Well, so for me, I'm listening to you and I'm getting excited, right? Because I'm a firm believer that at the end of the day, if you're doing the work, people are always watching. People are always looking, right? And you have so many entrepreneurs out there who read a book, watched a YouTube video, and now they're entrepreneurs, I like to say. And I'm just a firm believer that, once again, if you're doing the work, if you're helping people, folks are always looking at you. They're always observing you from afar, up close, of course, because of social media. They're doing deep dives in your social media and uncovering what type of work you've done before. And it sounds like you've been able to attract a lot of business indirectly because of that, right? People basically just want to duplicate the success that you've had.
Yeah.
Greatest form of flattery is people wanting a copycat, right? Or asking you to do what you've done for yourself for them. So I celebrate that. Congratulations. I love it. I guess the other question that I would ask is, you've been in the industry for a while. What are some of the challenges or some of the conditions in the industry that you would like to see change, that you think would make it better for entrepreneurs, more fertile for people to launch and grow businesses during the pandemic? What type of resources do you think need to be made available to entrepreneurs to succeed, even in the industry that you're working in right now?
So, I mean, I guess I would say, okay. I guess I would say, just go ahead, get out. I guess I would say, that's a tough question. I think the biggest challenge that I see a lot of entrepreneurs dealing with during this pandemic is being able to transition to social media, especially like within my industry, because a lot of it is like selling directly to clients. A lot of it has to do with like having stores, right? People during this pandemic haven't even been able to get to certain cosmetic stores to go buy their lipstick or buy their lashes or buy the things that they need. It's been limited supplies. I guess the thing that I would say is just leveraging social media, trying to create new, come up with creative ideas of gathering more people on these Zoom calls. Because I feel like, you know, Zoom is a way to, Zoom allows all kinds of different entrepreneurs to grow their businesses, whether you're in a retail, wholesale, real estate, like literally no matter what kind of field you're in with as an entrepreneur, Zoom is giving us all a platform to be able to come up with creative ideas to monetize and get sales and help each other. So I guess my advice would be utilize Zoom a lot as well. It's another social media platform. And I know a lot of people have been having trouble with learning Zoom. So I guess another thing that I would say that would help with this challenge of this pandemic is learning more, increasing knowledge, studying new ways, innovative ways of being successful as an entrepreneur, like is important. And I think sometimes, that's something that we limit ourselves as entrepreneurs, is not going outside of what we already know. You know, like, well, hey, I'm a real estate agent and I do wholesale, so I'm just going to focus on wholesale. Well, if that wholesale isn't working, then maybe you should search into some other areas. Or, you know, if I'm just selling lashes and I know I can't sell them through the post office because UPS is not working, I need to come up with a creative way to get on this Zoom and say, hey, everybody, let's get on here and just talk about some pointers on how to take care of your lashes if you can't get them. I mean, we have to always be innovative and work with the changes of what's going on.
You know, something I'm also hearing is, I'm thinking about your manufacturing background, right? Because most people wouldn't anticipate that someone works in a manufacturing environment, those skill sets will be readily transferable into the business world. And I think there's a very important lesson to be drawn out from that, right? In terms of people taking inventory of their skill set, understanding where their areas of strength are or power, and capitalizing on that. And it sounds like you've obviously done that. But the other thing that I'm hearing is that you're a constant learner, right? You're willing to pivot and learn the things you need to learn to be successful in any given environment or condition. And those are two things that, as well as, of course, you got to have some mental dexterity, right? I'm hearing the kids in the background. So I know you're focusing on 3 to 4 things all at the same time, all the time, right? So those are some of the lessons that I'm hearing here during this interview. And it's exciting. I'm glad to hear it. I guess I'm wrapping up because I don't want to keep this much longer. Like I said, I can see what's going on here. And I kind of touched on it already, but I want you to expound a little bit. Like, at the end of the day, what do you think your competitive advantage is? Why do you think you've been able to pivot and do well during the pandemic? What's your value proposition?
I think my competitive difference is that I'm not just a wholesaler. I'm not just a retailer. I'm a creative. Like, I think that's what separates me from my industry, is that the average wholesaler, the average retailer, they have to find creatives. I don't have to find a creative. Like, I am the creative. So I think that's what gives me the advantage. And then too, the fact that I don't limit myself to shipping to someone that I can't see, or I don't limit myself to only being able to give products to people I can see. I think that because I have a broader range of reaching out to people, that separates me from my competition as well. And then also, I'm big on diversity. I noticed with a lot of cosmetic brands or retail brands or even wholesale brands, they focus on a certain group of people. And I think that's one of my advantages as well, is that I'm like diverse. Like, I literally reach out to all people, all nations. Like, it doesn't matter where you at, where you're from, like, come on, be a part of what we're doing. So I think that's another thing that gives me a big advantage. I remember the last photo shoot I did one during this pandemic, actually. And the location that I had rented out, the owner walked in and was like, I can't believe you got all these different diverse people in the same room, actually working together, doing great things together. And this is incredible. Like, and it wasn't that many people. It was only like 5 of us, but each one of us was a different nation, like nationality. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah. I love it. So the way we typically end these interviews is we ask entrepreneurs, what's the most important lesson, right? That you would want our listening audience to know about entrepreneurship, right? People have these misconceptions about what it is to be an entrepreneur, what's required, what's the investment that needs to be made, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And based on your life experience and all that entails, what would be the most important lesson you want to pass on?
Okay. That's really interesting. Because the most important lesson, I believe, is understanding that entrepreneurship is like a 9-to-5, because you have to do the work. You have to do the work, and there is going to always be uncertainty. And I think that with entrepreneurship, a lot of people get uncomfortable because they're like, well, I don't know, it's so uncertain. I have confidence in this 9-to-5 job. This is going to provide for me. But the reality is that the same way there is uncertainty in entrepreneurship, there is uncertainty in a 9-to-5 job. This pandemic has shown us all that. So I think that understanding that there's going to be times where it's going to be rough. There's going to be a lot of unknowns, but you have to still be able to say, you know what, I'm going to show up. I'm going to show up and I'm going to do what I have to do. People show up to that 9-to-5 every day knowing that they could have a massive layoff. I showed up at my 9-to-5 every day knowing that, hey, I was laid off for 2 years.
Yeah.
So that's huge. I think another thing, an important lesson to understand with entrepreneurship is that not to be afraid to reach out and network. I think sometimes a lot of entrepreneurs shy from networking, and it is so important to network in order to grow as an entrepreneur. We can't just stay in our bubbles and think that we're going to help people.
Yeah. Speaking of networking, if people want to reach out to you and get in contact with you, whether it's with what you're doing with the eyelash stuff or your creative work, whatnot, what is the best way for them to find you?
So the best way for them to find me is actually on either Instagram. Instagram, my page is Elie Lovely Lashes, or also my email, AnelieLovelyLashes@gmail.com. And then trying to think what's the other one. I'm also on Poshmark, so if people are on Poshmark, that's another good way to reach me. My son is like wanting to take it over, but yeah, I'm on Poshmark, so my Poshmark page is Elie Lashes.
Perfect.
And that's pretty much it. I mean, I do accept phone calls and texts, and so yeah. And my son wants my time.
Well, thank you, Glennika. We know you're busy. We appreciate you taking this time and sharing all this with us and our audience as well. If you want to reach out to her, please do. She's happy to network. She will make sure build your circle, expand it this way. Other than that, NextOppSocial fam, we will see you next time. Make sure to subscribe and you'll get notified when. Thank you.
Awesome.